Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Wednesday edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast. Is we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call today 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Joining me right now, you see his name on the screen, Coach Billy Mims, as he's getting ready to fly to Indianapolis for the 2026 Final Four. And we got a rocket launch today. Coach, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. I'm a little bit disappointed, though. It has been raining a lot this afternoon. And I hear it's going to be raining in Indianapolis as well. So I thought I was going to be taking some Florida sunshine with me to Indy. But I don't even have sunshine in Florida today. And I hope that doesn't cause a problem for the rocket launch today because, like you, I want to go out and watch it. I always think when it's a historic manned launch, you better be there to watch.
You're absolutely right. The first one a couple years ago, was it 22 or 23? Mm-hmm. Remember, we tried doing it, then it got delayed. Then they tried again on a weekend, it got delayed. It was still the third time. Then it went up. So I'm with you. I hope it goes up tonight. My question for you is, where are you going to watch it? From home? What's the game plan, Coach?
Yeah, I've got a pretty good view off my dock. We're very lucky in this county, and we've got a lot of beautiful water around here. And years ago, I got lucky and found a nice house on the Indian River. So I have a dock on the river, and when you go out, stand on my dock and look to the north, you've got a direct, unblocked view. And as you're watching the rockets go up, they're going up over Merritt Island and over the Indian River. So it's a pretty nice place to watch a rocket launch.
Yeah, they're saying, for everyone who's watching this all around wherever, it depends. You could be in China, South Carolina, like your parents. Want to give them a shout out as well. They're saying Artemis 2, hopefully at this hour, around 6:20 or so with the launch tonight. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Now, tomorrow you are launching to go to Indiana. You are. Dude, let's start with what happened Sunday. You were tweeting like crazy. You were yelling as a basketball coach. How crazy was the UConn win there on Sunday?
I mean, I don't even think that UConn thought they had a chance. Their coaching staff, I have never seen a coaching staff in my life erupt like that. You can win a championship and not erupt like they did. I mean, it was obviously just an unbelievable moment. There are people out there, obviously it's been all over social media, right? And comparisons to the greatest buzzer beaters of all time. And everybody wants to talk about, but the year that Leitner hit his shot for Duke over Kentucky, that was a better tournament. There were closer games and whoa. I'm telling you right now, this one is even bigger than Leitner's, in my opinion, right? Because it knocked Duke out. Duke might like to think theirs was great because they knocked Kentucky out, but ever since that Leitner shot, Kentucky haven't been the big boys. Duke has. Lately, Duke, under Coach K, obviously, and John Shire's done a great job as well and was the NABC Coach of the Year. But look, they were the overall number one seed in the tournament. John Shire was just announced the NABC Division I Coach of the Year. And Cameron Boozer was the Division I Player of the Year by the NABC, the National Association of Basketball Coaches. Right here.
You got it.
I see.
Yeah, I see what you're doing there.
And Cameron Boozer was the NABC Freshman of the Year for Division I. So Duke dominated the Coach of the Year, the Player of the Year, the Freshman of the Year, overall number one seed in the tournament. AI even believed Duke was going to win it all. Okay, if you had the AI ballot, Duke was their winner, but. And it was just so improbable the way it happened. This kid is a 19-year-old freshman. Hollywood, I'm telling you, Hoosiers, this, you and I joked that Hoosiers 2 was going to be about the Indiana football team. I mean, right now there's just something about the state of Indiana, right? There was the Indiana Hoosiers football success. The Indiana Pacers a year ago get all the way to the NBA Finals, right? Now you've got a kid, a 19-year-old kid from Indianapolis, that the only way he goes home to play in the Final Four, the culmination of March Madness, is to hit a shot with 0.4 tenths of a second left on the clock to the overall number 1 seed Duke. And it gets better. Hollywood could not script this. The kid hadn't hit a shot in the game. He was 0 for 4 from 3. And even in the post-game interview, one of the best interviews ever, right, Mark? He said to, one of my favorites there, great CBS interviewee there, probably the shortest.
Tracy Wolfson. Is that what you're talking about?
What is it? 5'4" Tracy Wolfson. If that. Excuse me, I'm getting so fired up.
I can see this.
My voice going.
What did he tell Tracy Wolfson?
He told her after, she said, what about that shot? No, what was going through your mind? And he said, well, I got it. And I was dribbling across half court. And I looked up and saw time was running out. I thought I should give it to somebody who'd actually made a 3 in the game. So he throws ahead to Boozer. No, sorry. It was to, because obviously it's UConn. He hit Caravan. He throws ahead to Caravan, Alex Caravan, who's a senior, who's all everything. They just put his number retired already up in the rafters in Connecticut. And he hits Caravan on the pass like, well, I haven't made one. I'm going to give it to the senior Caravan. He's made one. Maybe he'll hit this one. And so he's thinking about giving it up because he's 19 years old, because he hasn't made one. And Caravan throws it back to him. Now he looks up and there's no time. He's got to take the shot. It's a logo 3 over one of the better defensive teams in the tournament, and a cardinal sin by Duke's defensive player.
And you hammered this a couple weeks ago. Hands down, man down. Is that what it literally was? I think Duke, I just want to say this. I think Duke was a complete shock. I think in the moment, you talk basketball for dummies. Every sin you could make happened in those 10 seconds if you're Duke. Everything. Again, okay, you bring up Christian Laettner. The difference is, at least Duke had the ball to start of the possession. Okay, Grant Hill had to throw this, all-timer throw. Football throw to Laettner. And it's funny that Grant Hill's on the call for this as well.
Yes.
So Grant Hill throws it. Laettner catches it, makes the move. It's an incredible play. But at least, again, Duke had the ball at the start of the possession. The problem is Duke had possession of the ball on this possession as well. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. What is UConn thinking? We're down to, what are we saying? Let's foul? Get him to the free throw line? What are they?
No, I think they've got to get a turnover. They've got to get a turnover. And what I would have done, again, if I were Duke, all they have to do is hold on to the ball. Inbound, hold on to it. The clock is ticking. Then UConn have to foul them. They have no choice. But Duke actually tried to advance the ball up the floor. And it's like, why?
Okay, so I'll just say
the other Boozer, right?
Yeah, so the other Bruiser, the shorter one, he throws it. All right, if there's 5 seconds to go, I could see you throwing it up, right? But there's too much time on the whole thing.
Just grab the ball and hold on to the ball.
You didn't have. This is why college basketball is fantastic, because we could do this, and this. The pressure gets to players. They're 19 years old. I think what's incredible, the whereabouts of what you just said. He tips the ball. It's up in the air like volleyball. You don't know what the hell's going to happen. The fact that you grabbed it, pass to your teammate believes in you, and then to get it That is amazing. In the moment. Dude, you've seen thousands of games. Have you ever seen this before from a team?
I mean, that is an incredible finish to a game. I was there when UConn made the other great play to win the national championship. I was at the game with seconds to go when Dante DiVincenzo.
Oh, you're talking Villanova.
I'm sorry, not UConn, Villanova. I'm sorry. I got UConn on my brain right now. Villanova. I was at the game when I'm thinking there's no way Villanova wins this game. And Dante DiVincenzo dribbles the ball hard up the floor, driving at the 3-point arc, sort of toward the wing. And then all of a sudden, the whole defense collapses on Dante. He turns and flips it back to a teammate for the game-winning shot on the buzzer. And, I mean, again, it was such a great play in simplicity. It wasn't complicated. It didn't take a lot of time. There wasn't a lot of congestion. There were no screens set on the play. And yet it was March Madness history and a championship for Villanova. And they did diagram that in the timeout right before that. So all credit there. It was a great, great play. Coaches, players, everybody executed. But you will remember those players involved in that play were not one-and-done freshmen. They were a little older. The players involved in this play at the end here is a 19-year-old kid. It's turned over by a 19-year-old freshman, Caden Boozer, and, panicked under pressure. He got trapped around center court and tried to get rid of the ball. Like, the old hot potato, you played when you were in elementary school. It looked like Caden Boozer was playing a game of hot potato in the elementary playground.
But what you said earlier, hands up. If that ball doesn't get tipped, the game's probably over, dude.
Probably over.
They got their hands up. Dude, again, Villanova, remember, so you were at that game. I'm so jealous. Remember, so the possession before UNC goes down the court, their guy hits this like double pump 3-pointer to tie it. And everyone's like, oh, this is amazing. I remember Michael Jordan's there. Oh, this is incredible. Right. So what's funny is that was a set play. Jay Wright called a Hall of Fame level play that won a national title.
And let's be honest. Danny Hurley is a great coach. He will probably end up in the Hall of Fame too. He's already won 2 national championships. He might win a 3rd, right? And let's be honest though. He didn't have a thing to do with that play. There was no call on the other than maybe like, okay, we're going to trap the ball as soon as they put it on the floor. As soon as we got to trap. If we don't get a steal, we got to foul. I mean, there was some of that. But honestly, it was pressure, panic, turnover. I got to take a shot, throw it up, heave it up. From the logo, it goes in, and the Indianapolis 19-year-old kid is going home. I have a good friend who lives and works in downtown Indianapolis. Couple of good friends, actually.
Yeah.
He told me that it's so crazy in Indianapolis now. There's no Indiana team in the Final Four, right? But we got an Indiana bright young star in Braylon Mullins in the Final Four, right? He told me it's so crazy there. A guy got a set of tickets from somewhere that were down low, like mid-court, great seats, great level, lower level, mid-court seats, right? And already they're asking $16,000 a ticket for them.
You're insane if you pay $16,000. $16,000. Are you crazy? Dude,
Hey, here's the other thing that's funny. What? Put yourself in Braylon Mullins' shoes right now, going back hometown. The NCAA allows these kids to get a set amount of tickets for the Final Four. I guarantee you, Braylon Mullins' parents and Braylon Mullins himself have had way more requests for tickets from friends and family that they haven't heard from in 20 years wanting to now come to the Final Four because, hey, Braylon, you remember we were in second grade together. Man, I loved you back then. Can I come to the Final Four? His parents are getting calls. Hey, you remember me? I'm Joe Rita's third cousin from AAA. You know, I'm in town. Can I come to the Final Four?
He's good to go for the rest of his life. Like he's dude, and the other thing you talk about Hurley, this takes him to another level. Even though he's won 2 national titles, that win takes in 4. Okay, I heard this on the radio the other day. So in 4 years of the NIL era, that Hurley guy's got 2 national titles. The other year, last year, he lost by 2 points in a close game to Florida, who won the national title. Now he's got a chance to win another national title. That's insane.
Well, let's add one caveat to that, too. His budget of NIL is not number 1 in the country. You know whose is?
Who? Duke?
Kentucky. Kentucky have the biggest budget. And according to recent survey poll I read, Kentucky have the biggest NIL budget, the highest payroll of players. And remember, it wasn't that long ago, Mark Pope was interviewed after one of the NCAA tournament games or SEC tournament games, one or the other. And in the interview, there was a big hoo-ha about another player that on another team that, well, yeah, Kentucky recruited me, and they actually offered me $8 million to play for them or something like that, remember? And Mark wouldn't, and the reporter said, is that true? Did you guys offer that? He wouldn't answer the question. He never said yes or no to the question. And then a few weeks later, there's a report out listing all the NIL budgets that we know of, at least, that's not under the table money. And Kentucky were listed as the most expensive roster in college basketball, and it didn't get them to the Final Four.
No. So just like me, they can watch it on television. Like literally, that's what's happened here. All right, so here's the story. So last Saturday, the game ends. Illinois beats Iowa. I gave you a call from the road. You were in South Carolina seeing family, and we're like talking, and I want you, and I've said this all week, but I need to say it to you. So my aunt and uncle live in Lakeland, Florida. They've lived there for like about 15 years now. They are both graduates of the University of Illinois with their master's degrees. They have been following, and I will just quote my uncle when I say this. He's like, Mark, I've been following this team for 50 years. We had 89, we had 05, and now we got 26. And he goes, you know what, Mark? I still believe. And that really hit me because I know what he's talking about. Like, I still believe there's a chance we can win a national title. Like, I get it. And you'd be proud. What he said was, you know what I like about this team? We got some guys from Illinois in the Midwest. But we got these mean, tough Eastern European guys as well. Just like how you like to recruit. I just start laughing. So it's funny. You talk about, they're going to have people there from Indy rooting for that guy on UConn. It's only a 2-hour drive from Champaign, Illinois. They're going to be ready in orange to cheer on the Illini. And that is going to be, I think both games are going to be fantastic. That UConn-Illinois game is going to be interesting. I think it's a toss-up.
You should be up there. You should be on press row talking to all the Illini fans. You went to another university in Illinois.
Yo, Brad Underwood, he wasn't – this is what I loved. This is what I loved about his story. They asked him post-game about doing this. So he was a JUCO coach, I think, at Daytona.
Daytona State. Well, and that wasn't his only one. He'd bounced around several JUCOs. But when I arrived in Florida, Brad Underwood was the head coach at Daytona State.
Yeah, he was also a big-time assistant at my school, Western Illinois, for like a decade. He has bounced around. He has built that. Let me see if I can get this quote ready, right? And I sent this to our friend Jeremy Schulman because I know this was going to hit him. Let me make sure I get this right. Okay. Here's what his quote was. Quote, here I am, just an old JUCO ball coach from Kansas going to the Final Four. You're only as good as the people around you. End quote. That's an awesome quote to say. Dude, I think this, and I'm jealous you're going. I know you've seen a lot of great games. I think we got 4 great teams in the Final Four. And that Michigan-Arizona game, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, 2 number 1 matchups there, right? Number 1 seeds going head-to-head. In the Final Four, come on. It basically is a chalk bracket again, right? It's a chalk Final Four. Yeah. I mean, there are no Cinderellas here. You have 2 number 1 seeds, a 2 seed, and a 3 seed. They all could have been a number 1 seed. You know, it's a tough choice when that committee is sitting in that hotel room watching basketball 24/7 and deciding who they're going to invite. All of these teams could have been a number 1 seed. They have that quality. They all have great players. They all have all-American players. Somebody said this, I heard on one of the post-game shows, they all have NBA players. If you look at their lineups, they all have guys that are going to play in the NBA. Illinois, multiple guys on Illinois' team have what it takes to play in the NBA that will be successful players in the NBA. And I look at the coaching matchups in this, right? The Arizona-Michigan matchup, and I think the semifinal coaching matchups are brilliant, Mark. Arizona-Michigan are both number 1 seeds. They have the 2 youngest coaches in the Final Four in Dusty May and Lloyd, Tommy Lloyd. And those guys are the younger generation of coaches, the new wave of coaches. They coach the game in the new style of basketball, right? Then you look at the other game. You got Danny Hurley from UConn, and you've got Brad Underwood we just talked about from Illinois. Both of those guys are old school guys. They will get in their players' faces. They coach hard, like Tom Izzo talks about.
Yeah.
They coach their players hard. Dusty May, Tommy Lloyd, they're cheerleaders on the sideline. Okay, they're great coaches, great X and O guys, but they're the modern style coaches that say their players don't play for them, they play with them. On the other semifinal matchup, 2 old school, old style coaches in Hurley and Underwood who are hard coaches. They will coach hard, like Kelvin Sampson, and obviously like Tom Izzo. We've got 2 old school coach-ups in one semifinal matchup, 2 new school coaches in another semifinal matchup. Great players on all 4 teams. Great stories, as you just had the Brad Underwood story, an old Kansas JUCO coach. And here I am going to the Final Four. Every one of these teams has a great story, right? And that's what makes March Madness, even when there's not a Cinderella, it's what makes it can't turn off television.
Think about Michigan. And I've heard a lot of this lately with job openings. They got rid of Juwan Howard. They said, and he's a Michigan man. Mm-hmm. They got rid of him, and who'd they get? Dusty May from Florida Atlantic, who went to the Final Four a couple years ago, and the job he's done, he's turned them back into a powerhouse.
You bring up another great point, right? Of the coaching matchups. You bring up another great point. Dusty May, this ain't his first rodeo. Mm-hmm. He's been to the Final Four. He knows what it's all about now. And the first time he went, I'm sure it was like he was like a deer in the headlights, because I've never seen anything like. I'm in Florida Atlantic, right? As a head basketball coach, he went to the Final Four at a small Division I school. I mean, when he was at FAU, you really couldn't even call him a mid-major. No. You know, you could maybe say low mid-major or high low major, but they were a small program, right? And had never been anywhere. He put together a team, took them to the Final Four. In the other matchup, you got Danny Hurley, who's won 2 national championships. He's been to the Final Four now multiple times. So Hurley and May have the experience factor going for them. This is a first time to the ball. So I guess if there are Cinderellas, it's Tommy Lloyd and Brad Underwood. And first trip to the ball. And one more thing about your family from Illinois that went to Illinois. I thought about this when you told me about they went to Illinois years and years and years ago. And now they're so excited and all, and they're excited about the team, right? Right now, I was thinking about that, and I thought, back when they went to the University of Illinois, I bet there were no Eastern Europeans on the entire campus.
No.
Now, sometimes there's 5 on the court at one time.
It's a great point. Okay. Look, they're in their 70s. They're so excited. My dad loves Illinois as well for football and basketball. It's so crazy. And it's funny when it talked about Arizona. We always bring up Blue Bloods. That's a great basketball program with a rich tradition. But when you hear it out loud, haven't been to the Final Four since 2001. How is that possible? And you think of Lute Olson and all the great players. And I always love that 97 team with Miles Simons and Mike Bibby. And they won. Remember, that was the first time we had, remember the title game was Kentucky, Arizona, Wildcats versus Wildcats. I always think about that. And my uncle went to that Final Four and he gave me I got to see where I have it. Where's the, I'll just bring this up. You always get me swag from the Final Four. Right? This is how long I've known you. Houston 2016. All right.
A decade ago.
Yeah, you give me other stuff, but dude, I can't stress this enough. I saw Arizona play. They wore down UCF. When I saw Arizona is a juggernaut. So is Michigan.
Yes.
But that
well, here's the thing.
Phenomenal.
I agree with you completely on that. But here's the thing. Neither Arizona nor Michigan come to Indy undefeated.
It's a good point.
They have lost games. All 4 teams there have been beaten at some point in time. And if you think about it, when you look at it from that standpoint, Michigan didn't even win the Big Ten championship. Okay? Illinois obviously didn't. Michigan did. They didn't win their tournament championship, right?
It was Wisconsin. I think they won the
Purdue.
tournament. Or is that? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Purdue won. Purdue won the tournament. But then Arizona actually won their tournament. UConn didn't win their conference tournament. So if I were a betting man, right, I look at that one stat as well and say, to me, the team that probably has the toughest time to win the Final Four will be Arizona. And the reason I say that is because they got the longest current active winning streak of the Final Four teams, of anybody in the NCAA tournament. They have the longest active current winning streak. Everybody not in the Final Four is finished the season with a loss.
Yeah.
The other 3 teams in the Final Four have won no more than 4. There was nobody in the first 4. It only takes 6 wins. They're down to the last 2. So UConn are on a 4-game winning streak. Illinois are on a 4-game winning streak. Michigan are on a 4-game winning streak. Arizona, I don't know what it is. You got to look back to the regular season because they won the Big 12 conference tournament. So if you start to look at it like that, they were the regular season champs, the conference tournament champs. They have the longest winning streak going into this. And now they got the 2 toughest games of the year in front of them. They have the hardest job, in my opinion, of winning the national championship.
I want to bring up something to you then. That's a great point. The big winner in all of this, for a potential to be even bigger winner, is the Big Ten Conference. They got 2 teams in the Final Four. Both of them could win, and it could be an all Big Ten final Monday. It could, possibly. They have 2. Remember, Indiana won the football championship. Football has won 3 straight with 3 different teams. I know the SEC, it just means more. The Big Ten is winning at football and basketball. They could, again, the SEC got 10 teams in the tournament, 0 in the Final Four. Big Ten has been, hey, Purdue could have won. Purdue could have been in the Final Four as well. They were right there. Now he's looking at his stats.
Well, I'm looking at the page. 0 in the Final Four, but also, how many did they have in the Elite 8? In the Elite 8 from the SEC?
Tennessee?
1.
Tennessee with Rick Barnes, who you like.
1.
You know what's funny also? You said this before the tournament started. Remember, we were debating, does UConn deserve to be a 2? Because St. John won regular season and conference tournament. St. John was a lower seed. No, the committee got it right. They knew what they were. Hey, UConn's there.
But I got to say this. Here's what happens, though. Those seedings matter because it's all about who. It's one thing to get to the dance. They both got to the dance. But once they got to the dance, because of those seedings, they had to dance with different partners.
It's a good point.
So
it is a good point.
I mean, if you're Rick Pitino, and I'm sure he's still angry. They had UConn's number. They beat them in the regular season. They beat them in the tournament, right? They won the Big East regular season championship. They won the Big East tournament championship by 20 points against UConn.
And they're a 5 seed. That's what
they're
they
5 seed. So what does that do? I mean, that is disrespect from the selection committee about as big as it can get, right?
Yeah.
But again, I think that why it matters, because then a lot of people are like you, Mark. They would just look at it on paper and say, wow, yeah, but St. John's are gone home now and UConn's still playing. That doesn't necessarily mean UConn's the better team. Florida's gone home and other teams are still playing. Is everybody left actually better than Florida? Not necessarily, but they came up against a buzzsaw. They lost the game. They came up against a team that they didn't match up well with, and they got beat. So it matters. Seeding matters because it dictates who you dance with, right? And going to the big ball is not just about getting to the ball. It's about the dance partner you have for the ball. And that's what's seeding.
And it's funny. It's a great point. It's funny. We talked about that South region. We're like, oh, man, it's probably going to be Florida versus Houston in the final, or the South region. No, it was Illinois, Iowa. That's who played for the chance to go to the Final Four. That is wild. What?
And I had Florida, Houston playing in that South region championship. Houston were on their home floor, and Illinois beat them, in Houston, Texas. Illinois sent Houston home. Of course, they didn't have to fly home after the game. The one consolation.
Do you think that's what Calvin Sampson told his team in the
after the game when Houston lost? They were the one team that didn't have to worry about a long line at TSA.
Man, you can trash talk with the best of them. You really can. All right. All right. What's the game plan? It's Wednesday. Are you leaving tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow evening. The flight that I wanted was full, so I'm a Delta guy. So Delta tomorrow night, Delta to Atlanta to Indy, and then it's 4. And look at what basketball's all about while I'm there, right? On Friday evening at Lucas Oil Stadium is the NCAA Division I All-Star, the Reese's All-Star game.
That'll be cool.
So that's Friday, Final Four Friday. There's concerts galore. The Zach Brown Band are playing. Post Malone is playing. Megan Maloney is playing. 21 Pilots are there. I mean, come on, there's great music, free. These are free music concerts to go to.
This is by the stadium.
And yes. And how about this? On Saturday, so Friday is the at Lucas Oil Stadium, NABC Reese's All-Star game. The best players in the country that are not playing in the Final Four and maybe not holding out because of the draft or something like that.
Yeah.
But great All-Stars, great game it'll be. Free admission, free. And they do that. I think that's great, Mark, that they do that. Because think about how many people that live in Indianapolis and can't get a ticket to the Final Four, can't afford to go to the Final Four. So you know what? Come see the All-Star game on Friday night. Same court, same stadium. Come on in. It's free of charge. So that's fantastic. Saturday, there'll be the convention that I'll go to some meetings. I'll go to the convention center and see the exhibition where all of the best stuff involved in the game of basketball will be on display from retailers all over the sports world. And then Saturday night, 2 semifinal games, right? Sunday, Easter Sunday, I'll get up and go to church on Easter Sunday morning. And then Sunday at 1 o'clock, the NCAA Division II National Championship game is at Gainbridge Fieldhouse where the Pacers play. I've got courtside tickets for the game. The team playing in it, believe it or not, is a team from Pennsylvania, Gannon University from Erie, Pennsylvania, and a team from South Carolina, Lander University. And as you know, I'm from South Carolina. Let's give you a little bit more ties to that. When I was hired as an assistant at Lander University, early in my coaching career, I was hired as the first ever full-time assistant men's basketball coach at Lander.
That's awesome.
They're in the national championship game. I'm going to go support them.
Then
at 4 o'clock, 4 or 4:30, is the Division III national championship game.
When are you going to sleep?
I'll be there for that. One more. This is such a great weekend. The best ever done by the NCAA. The last game, I think, is 7 o'clock out there, 8 o'clock here, is the NIT championship final. So on Sunday, Division II championship game, Division III championship game, NIT championship final. Same court. Now, my wife said to me, well, how are you going to eat? How are you going to go out and come back, go out? You can't. But the NABC, the National Association of Basketball Coaches, has set up a hospitality suite for the basketball maniacs like me that will stay there all day. So between games, I'll be socializing with my coaching friends and having snacks on the NABC. But I'm going to stay there for all 3 games on Sunday. Then Monday morning, I'm going to go to the Fan Fest with all the kids because the kids will be in school, right? They'll be there all weekend. So Monday morning, I can go to Fan Fest. I can play all the basketball games. I can do the free throw challenge, the State Farm free throw shootout, and 3-point shoot. I can do all the stuff without standing in long lines of school children. So
you're
Fan
ready.
Fest Monday, and then, you got to squeeze in room for a steak at St. Elmo's.
You were going to fly in. This was funny. Like, you're going to fly in, and then it's like, that Uber ride might cost you $100 or who knows what's going to happen. And then you're going to be stuck in the middle of that, which is going to be awesome. And then you won't be able to, because you're leaving Tuesday? Is that the game plan? I
come back Tuesday. Yeah, I'm going to stay for the championship game for Monday night, and I'll fly back Tuesday. And I'll tell you, here's the other crazy thing. And the NABC do this, so I had nothing to do with this, right? It's totally random. But I filled out my application for housing after my application for tickets. I never want to give those up. I've had those now for 35 years of March Madness and Final Fours and NABC conventions. And it's just a great, great basketball weekend. But my hotel that I was assigned to, Mark, is right across the street. Right. If you look at some pictures of Lucas Oil Stadium,
you're right there.
You can see a hotel in the picture. That's my hotel, right next door.
You probably could see it from your window.
Yes.
Dude, that's gonna be all right. All I ask before I let you go, if they sell a game program, I'd like one of those. If that's, I never know with games anymore because something. I just did QR code. No. I want
Final Four now, unless they change this year, because last year they did. They still love saving them for the value of them. Yeah. It's going to be worth something one day kind of thing. When you buy them, they actually still have them in the packaging. They don't take them out of the packaging. That's up to you. So guess what? Am I buying one for you? It'll still be in the package.
I appreciate that. All right. I hope you enjoy the launch tonight. Knock on wood. Hopefully that happens. Also, you and me will be going to the Orlando-Jacksonville Jaguar games coming up in 2027. Okay, we're going to be going to that. I don't know if we're rooting for the Jaguars, but we're going to be there. Have a great time, right? And I'll talk to you later. All right, buddy?
Thanks, Mark.